We will start our session in about 2 minutes. Everyone, please prepare. Make sure your internet connection are strong. We start. Okay, so thank you everyone for joining us tonight on MSA's very first series of Your Vote, Your Voice. I am Asma and I will be your host throughout the session. We are here with Sister Dayana, who is the representative of IIUMSU Election Commission. Sister Dayana is also a third year student from in KENMS and she's from Department of Islamic Finance. Hello Sister Dayana, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine. Asma, how are you?
Alhamdulillah, fine. So thank you for joining us tonight.
Welcome.
So before we start, let me just share with all of you about our flow today. Basically, we have two slots. The first slot is sharing session from Sister Dayana, and the second slot will be Q&A session from the viewers. So before we start with sharing session, I would like to briefly explain about what is IIUMSU. So basically, IIUMSU is the highest body at IIUM, highest student body at IIUM, which exists to protect the interests of the student and the university and represent their voice in terms of education ecosystem or society in general. For example, when students who've been stranded for months in IIUM and didn't get the chance to go out even to refill their petrol gas, SU has come up with plan of action by consulting the related office to allow students to go out from UIA but with a very strict SOP. So I guess everyone are excited to 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 get information regarding our election from Sister Dayana. So we just straight away go to the sharing session. So Dayana, few days ago there has been an announcement regarding our very first IIUMSU election, which has been on hold for 2 years. And as we were informed, nomination day will be on 2nd April while polling day will be on 9th of April. So what is actually the basic structure of voting process in this first IIUMSU election?
Alright, so thank you Sister Asma for the question. So Bismillahirrahmanirrahim, Assalamualaikum and good evening everyone. First of all, I would like to send my gratitude to my MSAS friends for realizing the existence of me in EC and to give opportunity for me to talk about election in this YouTube live tonight. So, okay, the question is, what is the basic structure of voting process in the first IIMSU election? So like what EC has mentioned in the previous press statement, which is the confirmed method for upcoming election is we will use a digital voting system. There is name iTasweet. It's not like iTasweet, but iTasweet, alright? The sort over there. Alright, so right now, like an instant update regarding the iTasweet, basically this evening, EC with the developer, we had we had a run testing or some sort of mock election this evening to test the ITA suite system, which is all election process will be handled within the one system, which is ITA suite, including the nominating the candidates, submitting nomination form, and also voting process. Everything will be done in one system, which is ITA suite. So I believe a lot of students are questioning how the ITA suite looks like and how they can use the ITA suite. So let's wait that EC will release a detailed guideline on how we can use the ITA suite system later on. So because right now ITA suite is currently in the phase of final touch, so we need to enhance the system better after the mock election this evening and whatnot. So please stay tuned with us to know the full guideline on how we can use the ITA suite system that will include everything election process in the one system. I hope
see. Okay.
I answered the question very well.
Yes. So I believe that ITA Suite are still in the process of EC are still in the process of final touch for ITA Suite system. So I hope that
Yes.
in the any near time we will get the update about the ITA Suite, right? So let's us move on to our next question.
Mm-hmm.
According to the recent result of MSIS election, total K6 student who actually turned out voting is less than 40%. So what do you think are the factors that led people to vote, and how do you increase voters' participation in election based on these factors?
All right, so regardless who they are, from KNMS or RKHS or any other kuliah, I think the factors will be the same. So the two main factors that I believe led people to go for voting is the first, every students need to have knowledge and understanding for these two things, which is the first one is about your responsibility. So what is our responsibility within the election? Because one thing that we need to know is that when we do election, we are electing the student representative for ourselves. And these people will determine how our future in the campus would be, which is they will be the one who decide on the policies that will affect our life. So why is it become our responsibility during this election? Because the decisions that will be made later in the future will affect our life directly or indirectly. So we have to know if we care about our future, if students care about their future in the university or in the campus, they need to care about who they want to vote in the election. So by hook or by crook, they need to get involved in the election. And the second one is they need to have knowledge and understanding about the importance of electing the right student representative or the right person to be the IIM Student Union new lineup later on. What I mean by the right student representative is the one who is competent, who has merits to become the student representative, and has ideas and vision to lead the students. The reason why I said so because we don't want student leaders that just become a student representative for the sake of popularity, or they just go up as a student representative but at the end they will follow what the other groups, or they are not the student representative will not fight for the student rights, but they follow what others say, like the group they represent, for example, and whatnot. So that is why students must know the importance of looking and electing the competent leaders, because we don't want someone that didn't do their job not properly. We need someone that can really represent our voice and become our spokesperson that can deal with the administration, what we want and what student needs for their welfare and whatnot. So that are the two things that student must understand and know for them to realize their responsibility to be involved in the elections. So the second important factors that led people to vote is the trust to the system. Like we know, student union is now replacing the previous system, which is student representative council, SRC. For many years, we have been governed by the highest student body, which is SRC. So now, for the first time, we are not like getting back, because the first student union was in University of Malaya. So this is the first time IIM has student union. So students need to have trust of the system, which is student union, because I believe a lot of people are still questioning or asking what is the improvement if student union replacing SRC and whatnot. And what I can say tonight is, if you see how student union works today in their social media and whatnot, we can really see a huge difference between student union and SRC. And the most important thing that I think we can see is the attitude of working, which is we can really see that student union brought or increase the autonomy of the students in the campus, which is our voices are heard in the administration within the policy making. That is what we want, because students are the major stakeholders in the campus or in the university. So we have the right to decide on policy or anything that will give impact on our lives in the campus and whatnot. So another thing that we can see, the union is very proactive to settle any issues relating students' welfare and whatnot. So that is the two things about student union replacing SRC. So I believe that students must have trust in student union, so that they know they have to vote during the election, because they know these people will ensure the students' life getting better in the future. So how these factors can help to increase participation or increase the voters turnout during the election, I think first and foremost must be the responsibility of student union itself and also election commission to increase and advocate to the students regarding the election and everything. So other than that, should be we have KBS, MRC, and also other students clubs and societies. All of these clubs or all of these societies need to help. We need to work cooperatively in order to increase the awareness regarding the election and whatnot. Because I believe university is the arena for all of us to understand the value or the principle of democracy, that we are doing this to elect the student representative and the leaders for us. So, and we have to know that each of these leaders bring different ideas, which is different ideas that aim to give a betterment for the campus. So it's like a collective work for SU, Election Commission, KBS, everything, student clubs. They need to put some effort lah to give awareness to the student regarding the elections. That's all from me.
I see. Okay. Thank you, Dayana. I would like to highlight one of the points that's mentioned by Dayana, which she said that the autonomy of student union is greater, right, than SRC. So I believe that it is something that huge. Student need to really participate in election and increase their knowledge and understanding. Also trust in the system of student union itself, because without trust, student union cannot go. Okay. So thank you, Dana. Okay. Let's us move on to the next question. So it is we can consider that young people nowadays, young people meaning like junior students, they are less likely to vote because they are not active in politics. How do you think this will affect our voters turnout, and do you think it is true in the context of IIUM itself?
All right, so I think the factors that determine whether or not the person will go for voting, it could be few factors, such as the system itself, the voting system itself. Like maybe if we do it offline, face to face, people are less likely to vote because they have classes and whatnot. Because we know that before this USIM, they use online system, and more than 90% of students going out for voting. So people are questioning like, oh, if IIM do the same, like doing online voting and whatnot, they think that the percentage of voters turnout can be increased. So, like the question said, it is considered that juniors or young people are less likely to vote. I think it is not only the young people or our juniors, but also some of our friends, even seniors, they don't have the understanding regarding their responsibility. So most of them also does not go to vote during the polling day. So I believe we have to make extra effort regarding this. And basically, if we talk about juniors doesn't go out for voting because they don't have the knowledge and whatnot, we know that everyone who entered campus, they are very eager to seek for knowledge and to know everything about campus and whatnot. So we as seniors, if we believe that seniors are senior is better in going to voting compared to juniors, then seniors have the responsibility to make sure our juniors and the new students understand regarding their responsibility to involve in the election, to understand the system that we have, student union and whatnot. So yeah, so another important party that I think we still did not mention it tonight, which is student fronts, the existence of student fronts. I believe that this group of student fronts plays an important role to make the awareness about election increase within the campus, other than SUEC, HBSMRC that I have mentioned just now. So there are many other clubs in the campus that can help to increase the awareness regarding the election for the new students and whatnot. And I believe it is important for just mere student clubs like Perkim and whatnot, because we know that these student clubs, they have students beneath them. I mean, they have students around them that become their members. So they already have these people. They need to increase the awareness regarding the election, regardless what the nature of society might be. Like maybe there's a club that focus on volunteerism and whatnot, but they need to also advocate regarding the election within their members itself, because they already have members. So that is one of the ways that we can, touch new students or juniors regarding the election.
Okay, so when talking about student fronts, it's actually related to our next question, where the concept of election in IIUM is somewhat a bit different from some IPTA out there, where our candidates are prohibited to declare their front, and anyhow, we have a very active political climate in our university. So do you think these student fronts will help in increase our voters turnout?
All right, so just like what I have mentioned just now, student fronts really play important roles in advocating to the students regarding the elections, because even though in the current regulations of election, it is stated that candidate cannot represent any student fronts, or they cannot show themselves as representing any group interest and whatnot, which is basically to make it short that the current regulations of election does not allow or recognize the existence of student fronts. So that is why the candidates must stand alone as themselves when they want to run for the upcoming election. But however, even though we does not recognize candidates representing any student fronts for this upcoming election, we cannot deny the fact that majority of the candidates, or perhaps all the candidates for the election, are coming from the student fronts itself. This is because we can see that if you go to Student Union website, at the student clubs corner, you can see that Student Union already stated few student fronts that exist in the university. One thing that we should know is that the existence of student fronts is not negative, by which we know that student fronts exist, they have few, and different student fronts does not mean that they are enemy or whatnot, but different student fronts reflects the different ideas that student have. So university is the place that we seek for knowledge and whatnot. So this is the place to prove the ideas that we have before we go out as a society, that we will vote for the country leaders, because we know Malaysia is practicing democracy and whatnot. So this is the place to prove and to manifest our ideas in terms of going for election and whatnot. So that is one of the reasons student France exists. Means like one people sees a problem in the campus and they believe they need to be the important people in the university so that they can improve the problem. I mean, or propose the solution. So in order for them to become the highest student body, they need a group of people to support them. So that is why they have student fronts, like maybe I can mention like WFI, we have Congress, Arusiswa and whatnot. You have to explore about this because we have to know that usually our candidates are coming from this, I can say student fronts, which each of student fronts bring different ideas for the campus. So we have to know regarding this, and like the question said, student France plays a very important roles because they will make sure a lot of students will vote for their candidates too. But one thing that I need to stress again, that the upcoming election, we does not allow candidates to represent for any student France, which is you will not see that this candidate is representing WFI or Congress and Arusiswa, but we have to know they are usually coming from that student front, which is they have teams that have the same goal regarding the idea of student union, the idea of student welfare and whatnot, the democracy that they believe. They have different ideas. So this is actually a good thing and a healthy environment, I could say, about the democracy, which different people have different ideas. So that is how we appreciate. So maybe the next election commission, like because this tenure of election commission which I am in, majority of us does not agree to recognize student front. So maybe the next election commission would want to recognize student front and allow candidates to represent any student front for the upcoming election, because we have to know that other universities already practice this method, which is they allow student fronts, they recognize the existence of student fronts and they allow their candidates to represent any student fronts. And I would say our campus could be fair to allow candidates to express to explicitly show that they are representing student fronts, because they does not want each candidates to fight and whatnot. So, but we need to believe that, like what I said just now, student fronts does not reflect they are enemy, but they reflect different ideas. So this is the right time for us to be more matured in fighting for our own ideas for the betterment of the campus. This is not the place for us to fight, but we have to be matured, and starting in the campus before we go out fight for the country, we need to practice to have a clean politic, I would say.
Okay, Dayana, just my internet connection or? Okay.
Right now, it's okay, right?
Okay, it's okay. So as you mentioned earlier that candidates cannot declare themselves from their respective fronts. So what action will be taken by EC if there's candidate who actually declare themselves?
As a representative from any student fronts, right? So basically, like I have said just now, in the regulations of the election, we are not allowed candidate to represent any student fronts, but they must stand alone as themselves. So if the candidate explicitly shows they represent any student fronts or any group, so we have to reject their nomination during the nomination day, which is when they submitted the form. The process of objection and rejecting will be done during that time after the nomination period has come to its end. So that is when EC will decide which candidate can proceed to run for the election and who cannot.
I see. So that's a very detailed explanation regarding student front. So I
Mm-hmm.
hope that everyone take note about this, because student front is is im- is somewhat a important group in IIUM, because they usually send their candidates to be the our leaders in student
Yeah.
union. So let's us move a bit from our topic regarding student fronts.
Mm-hmm.
So we could say that voters are likely to vote if the results are not transparent. Can you tell us the effort done by election commission to ensure transparency?
All right. So if you realize, and if all students realize, that one of the slogan for election commission this time is transparency, which we are highly tried as much as we can to be transparent with the work that we do. For example, we even showed to the public regarding the regulations for this election, where we know before this we never seen the regulation for the election, right? So that is one of the things. And another things that students must know is election commission has audit committee, which all the works will be audited, all the results and whatnot will be audited. So don't be scared of the not transparency of the EC. And another things is for the next election we'll be using ITA suite system, like what I have said just now. So I believe the developer and EC itself are trying to increase the security regarding the system, which we will try our best not for the system not to be hacked or the results to be manipulated and whatnot. So I guess what we can say just now is give a lot of prayers to the developer and to EC to conduct the upcoming election very smooth in the future, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, so when talking about transparency, I actually came across a question from student to EC in Twitter, where
Mm-hmm.
there is no specific announcement regarding the locality of seat to be contested. Can you explain about this?
All right. So the question has been posted since yesterday, or if I'm not mistaken, 2 days ago. But another thing that I think everyone should know is that every time EC receives questions from Twitter and other social media, we need extra times to discuss within the EC team to how we can give the best answer to all the students. So right now, regarding the questions that why EC does not mention that this specific seats is for specific locality for Gombak, Pagoh and Kuantan campus and whatnot, because I believe most of us knows that the upcoming election, the new lineup of student union will be merged between three campuses. So, okay,
Yes.
maybe I can give some updates. Currently, at this moment, student union and EC are currently having a meeting regarding this issue, because we need to discuss how we can clarify to you why we cannot explicitly mention which seats represent which campuses. Because if I can say EC is under student union, right, and student union is registered under Registrar of Society, so we are bound to ROS regulations, which we cannot specify a specific seats for a specific group of people. That include campuses and whatnot. So that is why we only mention about I mean, how we can know that that seat is specific for that campus, which you can see from the job scopes that we have released a few days ago, the job scopes of the seats or the office bearers in student union. So that is what we can do for now. But the next updates, how we can improve for a better information, EC will update later after the meeting tonight is has come to one conclusion, how we can best clarify to the student regarding this issue.
I see. So thank you, Dayana, for a very, very, very good answer. Okay, so after all the question, we have come to the final question
Mm-hmm.
in this slot, which is voting is an important instrument for the people who vote their leaders. It is essentially a power of the people. Do you think people are aware of this? And how about the people who do not want to vote?
So for this question, I would say just like the first thing that I have mentioned in today's session, which is students must have knowledge and understand about their responsibility, what responsibility within the election, because after the election, the student representatives that we have chose will determine like most of the things regarding our future in the campus, like our lives in the campus. They will decide the policy and they will fight for our welfare. They will become the spokesperson of our voices. They will be the bands of our voices. So students must know regarding this. They must know that their future is like in the hand of the student representatives. So if they care about their future, they need to care about who will be their student representatives. So this is like the main factor or the main thing that we must instill in ourselves first. So yes, election is the power of the people. Students need to understand their right to vote, why they need to vote, and if people does not go to vote, I think if we have friends like that, we need to advocate to our friends about and increase the awareness to our friends why she or he needs to vote and whatnot. Don't keep the awareness within ourselves, but spread it to a lot of people around us.
I see. So I would like to highlight the important point from Dayana, which is you need to know your leader, the one who will voice out your concern, right? So in Malay we could say that tak kenal maka tak cinta, meaning
Yes.
that you need to know those who you want to vote. So that's all the question from us. So we will move to Q&A session. Uh, okay, I think we have a question from Anas Hayyan. Is the advocacy for student unionism is in IIUM enough or can still be improved?
All right. So what I can say, like today, at least today, it is still not enough for sure, and the efforts to advocate people regarding the function of student union, the function of elections needs to be improved. And as I said just now, it does require a collective work from all the students, all the clubs and societies to help student union to prove themselves and to help election commission to advocate regarding this issue, regarding the function of student union, regarding the values that they want to bring to the election. Thank. Is the line okay? Or I need to repeat the answer for that?
Only the last part.
So I have to repeat or whatnot?
Only the last part from
The last part. Okay, so all in all, I think if I can conclude in one sentence, yes, the efforts to advocate the students regarding the function of student unions and the values that they bring, also regarding the election itself, it does require a collective work from all students, societies, clubs and whatnot to help increase the awareness regarding this. And yes, it is really need to be improved. And I hope everyone can participate to give awareness regarding this to all students.
Yes, I believe so because since this is the first election from student union, so there will be maybe a lot of room for improvement, right? So
Yes.
okay, let's move on to the next question from Sister Adriana Naziha. How far does election commission have been engaging with all student representative society, and what has been done to improve the knowledge on voting and election for the upcoming election?
All right. So how far does EC has been engaged with the student representative? As of today, EC has been engaged with representative from each KBS and MRC. Like we now have a group, yes, with all KBS from campus of Gombak, Pagoh, Kuantan, and also MRCs from all campuses. So through that method or through that mechanism, we engage with the student bodies, the official student bodies within the campus, but we does not have an official engagement with other student clubs and societies. However, the ways that EC can engage with them is through student parliament, which I believe the student representatives, student presidents of the clubs and societies, student president have met EC twice, if I'm not mistaken, within the student parliament, because they have the right to endorse the regulations and whatnot. So right now, the official engagement that EC has is only with KBS and MRC representative from each campuses, which is Gombak, Kuantan, and Pagoh. So these two bodies, KBS and MRC, plays an important role to help EC and student union to increase awareness and advocate regarding the election and the function of student union itself.
Yes, I believe EC are trying their best to advocate all people, all students from every different society. But we need to also make sure as a student we need to advocate ourselves, right? Before we want people to advocate us, but we also need to find the knowledge, the information regarding election by attending this session, Cik. Okay. Moving on to our next question from Brother Rafiq. In this era of digital freedom, how do we ensure that misinformation regarding candidates and election be controlled in social media?
All right. So before before the date of polling day, nomination day, and whatnot, EC will release the set of framework or guidelines for doing campaign, which we call it as do's and don'ts during the campaign for candidates. So I believe this is one of the way that EC can first-hand control the environment of democracy in our campus, which is, I believe, a lot of people would want to fight for their candidates, which one is better than the others. But as I mentioned just now, we need to be matured to fight for our ideas and whatnot. So this is like a reminder to all of us regarding this, to be matured, to bring our ideas, to uphold the value for clean politics and whatnot. And yeah, so I think the do's and don'ts during the campaign can help to decrease any negative things to be happened in the future during the election period. However, EC will always aware what happened in the social media during the election period, because if you're aware, in the election notice, we are collecting like some deposit money from the candidates, and the deposit money will be returned to the candidate if the candidates and their teams follow the rules and regulations that have stated by EC in the regulations and endorsed by the student parliament. So that are the two things that I believe we can control the damage in the future, inshallah. The do's and don'ts of the campaign, and also the regulations that we have.
Okay, I see. Thank you. So let us move on to our next question. Okay, let's take question from Islamic Banker Junior. Can international students vote for the election? If yes, how election commission enhance awareness among our international students to vote?
Can international students vote for the election? If yes, all right. So, of course, like what EC has released few posters and also notice regarding this, which the qualifications or the requirement for the voters or for the students to be eligible for voting, they must fulfill these two conditions, which is the first one, they must be a registered student of IIUM. Registered student of IIUM, which means they are either undergraduate student, postgraduate, local or international, they are eligible to vote. They are also eligible to nominate themselves as a candidate for the upcoming election, because same goes with the qualification for the candidate. As long as they are the registered student of IIUM, they can nominate themselves as the candidate. And the second qualification for the eligible voter is to be a member of student union. So as long as they fulfill these two qualification or requirement, they can vote for the upcoming election. And yes, that's the answer for the question. Okay, Rao, how EC enhance awareness among international students to vote? Basically, what EC is doing is we are advocating regarding this student union and also election generally. I mean, for all students, local and international. So in current student union lineup, we have we have international representatives. So we are working cooperatively to ensure that the message is sent to our international friends also, not only to locals. It actually requires an extra effort to reach the international students. But I hope if we have international students that listen to tonight's session, you also could relay the same message to your friends and to your circle regarding the upcoming election. We would very appreciate that effort.
Yes, I also agree with Dayana where if you in MSAS itself, in KENMS, we actually have WhatsApp group in every for every batch, if I'm not mistaken. So make sure make sure our students as international students also join that group, because basically that group is the main group and all information regarding student union, regarding MRC, regarding anything will be posted there. So make sure you join that group. And another group you can also join is KNMS News, if I'm not mistaken, tele group. So that from that part you can know lah any updates regarding our election. So
Yes.
okay, actually, okay, so we have other question from Brother Anas Hayan. IIUMSU mentioned last time that it will conduct a trial run for iTasweet. Is there any updates?
All right. So, like in the beginning or in the first question that I received today is asking about the structure of ITA Suite, and I have updated an instant update actually regarding the system, which is actually today EC already had the first run testing for the ITA Suite system with the developer itself. So today basically we already had the mock election, I would say, with the members, some of the members of EC with the developer. Basically, we don't really have much time to updates in our social media and whatnot. So what we have done today is basically starting from the process of nominating candidate, to approve the candidate, endorse the process of objection, and to vote all the mock election. I would say the process has been done today, this evening. So I cannot say much more. Like perhaps we could have a second run testing so that we can test the improvement that has been done today by the developer. So any more updates regarding the run testing, the mock election, we need and we will inform in our social media later on. Thank you for asking.
Okay, thank you, Dana. I think this will be our last question where, okay, from Brother Rafiq, can we know more about the platform ITA Suite? I am honestly still unclear on the structure of the platform.
All right. So I hope that the chairman of EC will not listen to this, because, okay, so if you really want to know how the ITA Suite looks like, it's like when you click the name of the link for the website, then the first thing that you will see is ITA Suite logo and also the three main parts, which is for the candidates, to request for the ballot paper, to request for the nomination form and whatnot. So everything can be done just by clicking the button that we have in the ITA Suite system. So detailed on how we can utilize or use the system, ISI will release a full guideline later on when the system of ITA Suite has been finalized by the developer. So I'm sorry that we cannot declare the exact date for that when ISI will release the guideline, because we are still uncertain on when the system will be fully prepared for the election. But what we can confirm and what we can ensure is that we are still putting so much effort that the system can be fully prepared before the nomination day and before the polling day. So again, give a lot of prayers to the developer and EC to settle down the ITA Suite system. Inshallah, everything we will inform you more in our social media.
I see. Okay. Just before we wrap up this session, I would like to ask Dayana, it the test run for ITA Suite, will there be any test run for ITA Suite test run for students, or students will just vote during the polling day?
All right. So okay. You can finish your question. Sorry, Asma.
No. My question already finished.
Okay, all right. So who will get involved in the run testing for ITA Suite? Like for today, we actually, the persons that involved is only EC, but we have plans to include student representative from ISLA, or we say student parliament, like because they have the right for this thing, right? So we planned. What is sure right now is that the students will not get involved in this run testing. So only selected few people will get involved. So anything EC will inform the right person regarding this. As of now, for today, the first run testing, it is only EC get involved with the developer. I think maybe because of short notice, so we cannot get more people to involve. So that is why.
Okay. So let's us pray for the best on ITA Suite, because it will determine our future leaders, right? So okay, thank you Dayana for a very fruitful discussion tonight. I think that all the questions have been answered fairly, and we are very excited, looking forward towards the election. Actually, me myself, I could feel the heat of election around me, right? Sorry, tak lawak. Okay, to all viewers out there, don't forget to follow Student Union and Election Commission Instagram, Twitter and their website to get all the updates regarding election. And also don't forget to follow MSAS social media to get updates regarding MSAS program. And before we end this session, sebelum kita mengakhiri sesi kita pada malam ini, izinkanlah saya untuk membacakan serangkap dua pantun. Tiada pondok boleh berdiri, tempat berhimpun suara perang. Jangan berkempen di hari mengundi, elakkan sengketa suasana tegang. Okey, pokok manggis di tanah rata, buahnya manis sedap dirasa. Setiap undian intan permata, penyinar cahaya negara bangsa. Jadi itu sahaja daripada kami berdua pada malam ini. Jangan lupa mengundi pada 9 April 2021. Terima kasih dan Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Thank you everyone. Assalamualaikum.
Thank you everyone.